the Big Fresno Fair champions on the County Fair podcast. This is the County Fair podcast, where fair influencers share their valuable insights, strengthening and growing the long-lived tradition of the County Fair. This episode is brought to you by ShoWorks. ShoWorks fair entry software has set the gold standard for fairs across the United States and Canada for more than 20 years, serving more than 75% of the country's fairs. ShoWorks is a place to handle fair entries, billings, payouts, and the incorporation of virtual elements into your show and auction. Visit www.fairsoftware.com to learn more. Today's scripture is Jeremiah 17, verse 7 through 8. But I will bless the person who puts his trust in me. He's like a tree growing near a stream and sending out roots to the water. It's not afraid when hot weather comes because its leaves stay green. It has no worries when there is no rain. It keeps on bearing fruit. I am your host, Jeffrey Palermo.
And I'm Christina Rudolph. Great to be here. Excited about our guest today. We're delving into the youth that makes our fairs possible. We're being welcomed today by Jacey Tweedy and Benjamin Plascencia. Both of them have shown at the Big Fresno Fair amongst a ton of other fairs in their area. Benjamin is from Dunlap, California. How are you, Benjamin?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Glad you could join us. And Jacey, joining us from Sanger, California. How are you, Jacey?
I'm good. Thank you.
So, Jacey, I'm going to start out. You have a long list of accomplishments here. 2020, all-around junior high Cowgirl. You've got president of the California High School Rodeo Association, champion lamb at the Caruthers Fair. My goodness, goats, lambs, and horses seem to be your thing. What is your favorite animal to show?
I would say beef cattle, because you get a really good connection because you have them for a whole year with you.
That's awesome. What got you into FFA?
My family showed, and they did FFA and all that stuff, and my mom is an ag teacher, and she used to take me to the fairs when we were little, so I got hooked in showing because I thought it was really cool.
You've grown up with it. What's your favorite part of showing?
I would say the showmanship part of it, because you get to see everybody. You get to make a good with everybody in the judge. They're in the arena. You get to experience being with your friends and everything about it.
Well, and this past year in 2020, you were the Big Fresno Fair 4-H Intermediate Sheep Showmanship winners. Congratulations on that.
That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Very impressive. So, and Benjamin, how are you today?
Good.
Good. So you too had some big things. You're the 2020 Big Fresno Fair Supreme Champion for Market Steer. Oh my goodness. What was the name of your champion market steer?
It was QP, which is short for Kate Pasa Calabasa.
What does that mean?
It's a phrase in Spanish. It's just like, what's up,
dude?
I didn't pick it up. My dad did.
Your dad picked it out?
Nice.
That's awesome. How long did you work with your steer to get him ready for showing this year?
As soon as I got him, I had to start working with him in order to halter break him and get his hair worked and keep him nice and friendly.
I'm looking at a picture of QP, and this is the fuzziest cow that I just want to go nestle up next to. Will he let me?
He would. He, believe it or not, he was, if you're looking at the picture from the fair, he was hairier than that.
Oh my goodness.
Like during the fair, he lost all his hair.
Uh-oh.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What do you have to do to get your steer's hair in that condition?
There's a lot. A lot of people, they say the supplements help, but really they don't. Most of it is just elbow grease and work. Like you can't miss a single day. Missing a single day is like a whole month's work lost. Which is why you need like a buddy or someone to help you. Like if you have a homework assignment, you have them come over and they'll do your steer for a day. So you can do that assignment. And then when they need help, you go help them.
That's amazing. Do you keep your steer at your place, or do you use a barn with other FFA individuals? And where do you keep your steer?
I keep my steer at my house. We have a barn. We keep them inside during the day, and then at night we let them go out and play in their big pen, where they get to run around and exercise and be cattle.
That's excellent.
I have a question for all the youth out there who are thinking, man, these are 2 grand champion steer winners. If someone wants to prep a steer and enter them in and try to go for the prize, how do you even start? And from both of you, what's the first step? How does someone even start if they've never done a steer before? Maybe they've done another animal. What's the process to get into steer?
I think the main thing is probably going to be able to sacrifice like a huge amount of time, because I've calculated it. And for my steer QP, I've spent more than 500 plus hours just blow drying him and getting his hair fluffy. So I think that's the first thing you got to make sure you have right. Because otherwise, if you don't have the time, you don't have the
okay,
good looking steer.
And backing up even from that, where do you get the steer, and what's your thought process in choosing a calf?
Many people get their steers from different places. I'm sure Benjamin gets his steer from a different place than I do. It depends like who you're around and what you want to show, because there's different breeds and stuff.
Okay. And how's that different? Jacey, you got the champion lambs and goats. How is it different from those other animals?
Lambs and goats are different from a steer because you're working on different things. Like steer, you need to do their hair, you have to rinse them every day, work their hair, blow dry them daily. The goats, you don't have to. The lambs and goats, I don't wash them every day. They get washed like right before fair or when you want to clean them up if they're really bad. And you show them completely different too. So that's it, yeah.
Okay. So how long, if someone wants to show it at the fair, how long should they expect to prep these different animals? You know, because goats, lambs, steers, what's worked for you, Jacey?
When I show steers and heifers, you would get them in about October, like earlier than I would get. Like our fair is in October. I would get my lambs and sheep in June. It's a less time period because they don't need to grow as much and you don't have to have them as long. Like when I got steers and stuff, I'd get them 8 months before the fair, 10 months before the fair.
When you're going to select a lamb, what are you looking for?
It kind of changes every year, like because we change our judges. So, like last year, the judge really liked them shorter backed, really muscular and stuff. And I kind of like that kind of lamb too. It really depends on what you want to go for because there's different breeds too, and they all look different.
Okay.
I know that you spend so much time with your animals. You're building relationship with your animals and getting them show ready. Benjamin, you already talked about how you've spent 500 hours, just shampooing, building that relationship. How special is that relationship that you get?
Oh, it's something else, for sure. You build so much of a relationship with your calf that if you raise them right, they'll work the way you want them to at fair. Like it's crazy. It's a really good feeling when your calf is on target when you get there.
What does it mean to be on target? I mean, if I'm a listener out there thinking, well, shoot, these are experts using all these terms. What are the judges even looking for?
Well, when I say on target, I mean like he's pulling out all the steps. Like, for instance, the night previous, you weigh them to make sure that their weight is the weight you want them to get into the show ring at. Like, for instance, if they're too heavy, you're going to give them less feed and limit the amount of like sitting down they're going to be doing. But if they're too light, you're going to let them eat a whole lot more feed. You're going to try to give them some more water so that in the morning when you go down, you can get the weight you want. And for my steer, he was perfect when we weighed him the night before. So he just walked on through, no problems.
Nice. Jacey, what's your thought process?
On target, yeah, just same as Benjamin. You just gotta get them on target, yeah, because you want them if they're too heavy and they're not in their like weight class that you want them in. You gotta take them back a little and not let them eat as much as they were, or you've had to push them to eat and make them have been in front of them all day. Like I've had lambs, you've had to run and make them work off some carbs and stuff. So
get them on Weight Watchers. All right. Well, let's take a pause for our sponsor. All right. We are back with Benjamin Plascencia and Jacey Tweedy, some grand champion winners. And they're telling us all about how they strategize and prepare to get that next award.
Yeah, we've got two champions here, and it's been mentioned that outside the ring is where that championship mindset starts. How important is attitude when you're entering that show environment?
Oh, it's really important. Like if you're going in too cocky or you think your steer's the best, you might not. You got to show them to their ability. Like I always go in with a mindset just to do as good as possible. I never go in, I'm winning. I mean, you do want to go in with a positive attitude. I never want to go in the showing with a negative attitude that I'm not going to do good. My lamb doesn't look as best as I wanted him to. But if you show it with that mentality, you're not going to present your lamb as good as you want or your steer or whatever you're showing.
I think that's great. What all, when you're going into that ring, what all do you have in your mind that you have to have ready before you walk in? You're obviously looking at, your weight, does my animal look right? But what all are you going in with?
I want to go in with that mentality that my steer, or my lamb, that you walk in and make sure their legs are fluffed and they look to their ability with their presence, and they make sure they're not dirty. You make sure they're not to their best ability, and then go in and just show you their best ability.
Benjamin, what are you thinking when you're walking into the ring?
I'm thinking the same things. Like you want them to look as good as they possibly can. And I think the best way to do that is not to worry about it too much and to worry about how you show them. Because like I've seen a few times to where this kid will have a steer with this big of a back, but if they don't show to part, they're going to get put in third and they won't get up into the higher classes. So I think most important part is making sure you're ready as well as the steer.
Whenever you're faced with preparing for what questions that a judge might ask you, do you feel prepared? How are you studying ahead of time? Are you taking it all from the experience you've gained? What are you learning each time when you go in, being prepared for what those judges are going to say?
Well, the way that I usually go about that is that I'll be practicing with my friend because we'll have our cattle in the same barn and we'll do showmanship practices to where I'll be the judge and I'll ask them questions, or they'll be the judge and they'll ask me. Mm-hmm. And we've actually got this little book this thick.
Wow. And
it's got like 50 questions in it.
And he's holding up his fingers, a pretty thick book there. You can't see it on.
Yeah. And it's got like 50 questions in there that all correspond with like the most common questions and the hardest ones. And by doing that every day, you don't have to worry about it at all, really.
So much practice, so much effort going into that. One of the things that I've always noticed walking around the fairground is the community atmosphere just seems pretty fun to be a part of. You're there with your family, friends, but you've also got general public walking through, asking questions. Do you feel happy to help them understand your industry?
Yeah, I feel like that it's a good thing for people to know why we come to show them what they're here to do. And like a lot of people will come up to me and ask me like, why is he this color, or why is he this, like, what do they have a name for it, like a dog or something? And I explain to them, and they will ask like good questions that they just want to know that we already know because we've grown up in the atmosphere and they haven't. And it puts a smile on their face when you help them too, because some people might not want to talk to them, but I feel like it's a good thing to explain like why you're here and what your animal is and all that.
You're really helping to educate the future.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. How important is your county fair to you? And do you think these shows have helped you for your future?
Yes, I really do think they've helped me, because I've been showing at the Big Fresno Fair in the Pewee since I was 3 years old, showing little dairy calves and little goats, and older people used to help me when I was showing when I was little, and then I've just gradually gotten better with everybody's help from the Fresno Fair. Like the mentality there is just really, really nice to be around, because they help. Everybody wants to help, and it's helped me be like a better person so that I can be like that when I get older at the Fresno Fair.
That's awesome. Thanks, Jacey. Benjamin, tell me about your county fair. How important is it to you?
Oh, it's extremely important. For me, it's almost like it's like Christmas. If you miss it,
Nice.
it's such a big loss, because there's so many people there that you meet, and sometimes even your competitors, after the show, you'll shake hands with them and get to know them better. So it's a big experience that is really not fun to miss.
Yeah.
You've talked a lot about having others come help you with your steers, the community aspect of it. It seems like you're building a family and a network of people that you really enjoy being with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you'll have your breeder, and my FFA advisor. He after he figured out who he was, he did more business with them, and now they know each other really well. Like it's crazy how knowing someone will have someone else know them as well, and you just make this whole family of a community.
That's awesome. Jacey, you mentioned that your mom is an ag teacher?
Yes.
So she not only has you as a child going through this, she's got students as well. How much work do your parents and your teachers put in to help you out?
Oh, my mom, she makes sure that she absolutely loves it. That's why she was a teacher. Like her students, I remember going when I was little with her students, she did at the school farm, and everybody there is just like everybody there has just a great atmosphere with them, because my mom, she puts in so much work to make sure everybody has like a fair chance of winning. And her students are always so good because she puts so much effort into them. And my mom has had many wins at the Fresno Fair in the dairy heifers. She's in charge of the dairy heifers. And I look up to her because she used to show too. And yeah.
That's awesome. So we're getting close to wrapping up here. I want to talk and give you all the opportunity to share just one of the most impactful or one of your favorite memories of fairs just in your time.
Well, for me, I'd say one of the most relevant feelings that I always have is remembering every time I go into the wash rack, because that's where a lot of your time is the wash rack and the blow station. And I always remember after every show how good the feeling is of breaking them down and going and relaxing. Because once you break the steers down, let me explain what breaking down is. Breaking down is when you get all the adhesive and the glue and paint out of their legs that make them look nice and big and puffy. And once you get all that out, that's basically the end of the day. You get to go sit down and have a, glass of punch and sit around the fire and tell about your day to everyone else around there.
Aw. I love that. What about you, Jacey?
Oh, my favorite memory probably from thing is I had this one show heifer. It was my second show heifer that I showed and it was my first year at the Fresno Fair showing. And we won showmanship and we won her breed class and we won a lot. I won a lot with that heifer at jackpot and all that stuff and showmanship and stuff. And she took care of me because I was only like 10 and she just go around and set up and just stick the setup. And she was so good about that. And that's probably my favorite memory from like fairs and stuff was that heifer.
That's awesome. That is awesome. What would you say to all the fairgoers out there listening? Should they come and see you?
Yeah, that'd be ideal. But that depends where they are. If they're in California, come on down to the Fresno Fair in October. But if you're over in the East Coast, you don't have to come over.
Look, also California, north and south, that's quite a trek. But the Big Fresno Fair certainly is big.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So for those of you listening out there, if in your fair, if you're a grand champion, reserve champion, jackpot winner, if you've had some success, well, everybody else wants to know how. So you can come on the County Fair podcast, and we'd love to have you as a guest, share your expertise and your success, just like Benjamin and Jacey, because they've racked up a number of awards, and it doesn't sound like y'all are going to be stopping anytime soon. What's the current projects for each of you? Jacey, go first.
This year, I'm just going to do lambs. I'm probably going to show a couple of them because Rodeo has been pretty strong right now, but I'll just show lambs this year. But hopefully next year I can get another steer.
All right. And Benjamin?
I'm doing another steer this year. And even though he's shucked all his hair already, hopefully by Fresno Fair, he'll be up and ready for a show.
I'm crossing my fingers for you. You've got a lot to live up to with QP out there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you sharing your success and your expertise and advice. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the County Fair Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and tell us what you'd like to hear on the show by going to www.countyfairpodcast.com. And to you and yours, may God bless you.